Doink. 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 Doink.
Top of all that, so it's about to get real messy. But right now up there in Rabun County, Stevens County, up around Lake Hartwell, moving into Clemson, South Carolina, with some freezing rain. And we're just light it may be out there now, but it's about to intensify with all of this rolling our way in the next couple of hours. And then the big winter storm, well, it's doing its thing. No surprises so far. That's kind of what the forecast map looked like, covered up from Texas all the way to the Mid-Atlantic region. So in the next couple of hours, cold air takes over. There's your moisture. There's your freezing rain. And that's when we start adding up the ice accumulations right on into the wee hours of Sunday morning. Now, once we get to daybreak, we're not going to warm. The wedge has us. We're going to hang right there. The 20s to near 30 degrees, down below freezing, right on into Sunday lunchtime and beyond. So anything that's icy stays icy. And then we kind of wait. This is going to be interesting come tomorrow afternoon with this next big front that's coming in here. What is it going to do when it runs into the wedge? All right, it is going to erode it a little bit, erode it at all. Wash it all away? I don't think it's going to wash it all the way by any stretch, but I think it's really going to hold tough up there in northeast Georgia. Here, we'll probably see temperatures up above freezing for just a little bit, but it won't help much because once the front moves through, we're going to find falling temperatures again in here, especially by Sunday night and into early Monday morning. So any residual moisture out there, gonna freeze. We'll talk more about that here in just a minute.
David, thanks so much. Remember, now's the time to be storm ready and have the Fox Local app downloaded. It is such a helpful tool. During a time like this, you can get weather coverage along with the latest closings and delays if you're looking for that. And just remember, you can keep watching it, watching our live coverage through your cell phone if power goes out at your home. So download it today. It's free.
South is going to be pretty warm, and we may kick up a few thunderstorms. So much so, we're talking ice storm in North Georgia. Could be talking severe weather down in the South metro area, all the way down into Middle Georgia. Possibility of a thunderstorm kicking up some damaging winds. And yeah, there's a low-end risk for a quick spin-up tornado. How about that? And then on the heels of all that, it's really, really cold in here. Cold weather advisory for Monday morning, and they'll probably extend that into Tuesday morning as well. All right, we'll talk more about the icing in just a minute.
Hi, David, thanks. It's certainly all hands on deck for the Fox 5 weather team and the news team this weekend. And speaking of deck.
That's right. Fox 5's Paul Milliken has been camped out on the weather deck for several hours now, Paul. For your sake, I'm glad the temperatures haven't gone down quite as much as when we first came on the air here.
Russ Spencer, how long have you been waiting to say? And speaking of, that was a great segue. Enjoyed it very much. Thank you very much for that tee up. Yeah, I mean, the good news is I just put my umbrella back down. It was drizzling again out here. So it had a light rain a little bit earlier. It was just drizzling right now. It just stopped, which is good. But every surface around me here is wet. And as those temperatures fall, we know what's going to happen. It is going to ice over. So I'll say a warning to all my coworkers right now. After a couple hours here, when temperatures go down, when you step outside the station, please be careful. And by the way, I keep giving weather updates for this area in case you don't know where the Fox 5 studios are. So I'm on the weather deck, which is right behind the station.
Fox 5 Live Viper, all quiet for us, but we are starting to look off to the west, particularly into parts of Missouri and Arkansas, where you see rain and even some snow in a handful of spots. That's the front moving towards north and central Georgia for tonight. Again, scattered showers tonight. It is going to be all rain. It's going to be a reinforcing shot of some moisture potentially for Sunday. That would bring that wintry weather threat. So sunny skies here through the afternoon. That southwesterly breeze is our friend. Let's talk about the winter weather prospects here, because this is what everybody's asking about. Generally speaking, if you live south of a line, say from Hartwell to Athens, McDonough, over to Manchester, you have a low-end chance of seeing some brief mixing and maybe even just some straight-up snow. That's going to be early Sunday morning. Accumulation, if anything at all, would only be up to a quarter of an inch. There's a lot more to talk about this, and we're going to do that coming up here in just a few minutes. Alex?
All right, Alex, thank you. We will check back with you soon. A change coming to Gwinnett County schools has a whole lot of parents upset. Starting with the fall 2026 school year, the district will require all 6-year-olds to begin first grade. This changes the previous policy, which allowed parents to use their discretion on when their children may be developmentally ready to start kindergarten. This policy, known as red shirting, allowed some 6-year-olds to attend kindergarten instead of first grade. One Gwinnett County parent told us the change could negatively impact her daughter.
Kindergarten is super fundamental, and for them to say that it's not important, that it's not required, I mean, that's very, very sad to hear.
This change has also caught state lawmakers' attention. Representative Scott Hilton plans to introduce legislation that will, in his words, shift the power back to the parents.
No, up to a couple of inches right on through your Saturday afternoon. And look at the temperatures. Wow. In the afternoon, just plummeting well down into the 20s and the lower 20s as we get toward the evening hours. And then by Saturday night into Sunday morning, we are frigid. So whatever falls out there is going to stay. We're going to go through the snow totals and the wind chills down around 0. It's coming your way in a few minutes.
Thanks. Gwinnett County is gearing up for the winter weather heading our way. Earlier today, officials briefed the public on their preparations. Fox 5's Christopher King spoke with the county chairwoman, and he joins us now live inside the county's Emergency Operations Center in Lawrenceville with more. Christopher, they're getting lots of practice these days.
And Russ, this is the Emergency Operations Center. In just a couple of hours, all these seats will be filled. Gwinnett County will open the Emergency Operations Center at midnight, and they're going to keep a close eye on the roads around the county.
Timeline in all this now as we go forward, kind of big picture stuff. We're going to watch that high just kind of build on in here, and that's what we're counting on, this wedge of colder air coming down the pike right here, having temperatures at 32 or below right near the surface. And then here comes the moisture, and that's going to be rolling in here late Friday night, early Saturday. But the main event, I think, still going to be Saturday night into early Sunday morning. And as we drill down into that, I think that's when we see a bunch of the freezing rain. There's maybe some sleet mixed in, but I really think this is a freezing rain event for your Saturday night on into early Sunday morning. We'll have more details on that, talk all about it. Stay with us now in the next couple hours.
All right, David, thanks. Governor Brian Kemp this morning declaring a state of emergency ahead of the approaching storm.
All 159 Georgia counties are now under a winter storm watch. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live in Forest Park with more on the state's response to all of this. Deidre?
Now we're joining you live from a GDOT facility here in Forest Park, where starting tomorrow we'll see a lot of activity ahead of that approaching storm. We're told that GDOT crews will begin treating roads on Saturday morning.
It's going to be up there in parts of northwest Georgia, may see a little bit. That's not the main show. The main show gets in here tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. What I'm going to be looking at is up here in northeast Georgia. How quickly will those temperatures up there towards Gainesville and Cornelia and Toccoa, maybe even Athens, how quickly they're going to get around freezing? Because that is the wedge coming down the pike, and we're going to see those temperatures hovering right around freezing by the time we get to sunset. Then the precipitation starts, and this is when we get a mess going on, because we find temperatures really dropping down below freezing long about Saturday night. And then here comes the ice storm. And we're going to have a long duration of freezing rain and ice accumulations. We're going to walk you through the timeline, the amounts, what we anticipate, this is how long this is going to happen, and then what happens once it leaves, the cold temperatures, all that coming your way in the next couple hours.
All right, a lot of info still to get to tonight, David. Thanks. The State Emergency Management will activate its Emergency Operations Center tomorrow morning at level 1. Authorities are still monitoring developments.
And the agency held a news conference to update you on what to expect. Fox 5's Kevin Stewart was there to ask questions and get some answers for us, and he joins us now with what he found out. Kevin?
Guys, crews are ramping up to attack the fallout from this big ice storm, but they say people at home can be doing certain things right now to get ready. It's just that you're running out of time.
blowing, and that's where things getting kind of the power outages, right? The trees start falling on the power lines, and the power lines themselves holding that much weight, and you get wet and wind gusts up out of the east there at 20, 25 miles an hour. That's setting the stage. That's showing you the wedge and its effect, and look how strong that the signature is right on into Saturday night when we start picking up the freezing rain and the ice accumulations. We'll go through that timeline for you coming up tonight at 6.
All right, David, thanks. Not only will people be affected by the winter storm, pets are also at risk.
Yeah, pet owners are encouraged to keep animals indoors as much as possible. If your pet has to go outside, provide warm bedding and make sure that they have access to shelter and unfrozen water. Vets say stocking up on food and water can make the difference between a healthy pet and a trip to the vet.
If you think there's frostbite, a risk of frostbite, you don't want to rub that. You just want to get it to a nice warm temperature. Not using, you don't want to throw hot water on it. You want lukewarm or room temperature water to kind of bring that temperature.
In here Saturday night, overnight Saturday, on into Sunday. That's when we're going to get the high totals of ice accumulation. Now, the system's going to slide on through along about Sunday, still holding on to that wedge of colder air. The northern and northeastern suburbs could see some more icing, while the rest of the area could see some rain before it changes back over very briefly with a colder air in here Sunday night into Monday. It is a dynamic system for sure. We're going to go through those totals, go through the temperatures, and the wind. That's going to be a big factor as well. All that coming your way in a few minutes.
All right, David, we'll see you in a bit. Thanks. While the storm is still 2 days away, state officials and GDOT crews are already busy preparing. Governor Kemp has declared a state of emergency for all 159 Georgia counties over the next 7 days. The State Operations Center will activate at 7 Saturday morning. As for GDOT, they say brine trucks will be staged, salt barns stocked, and road teams preparing statewide. State officials still say if you don't have to be out on the roads, don't be.
We're prepared, but do not mistake our preparedness